Things were going so well for the Dubs. Then this. Steph Curry came down hard on his back late in the third of yesterday's win over the Raptors. He stayed on the floor in pain after colliding with two players in the paint. He eventually left under his own power to the locker room where he was ruled out with a pelvic contusion. Steve Kerr gave us an update on Steph's condition post-game.
Getting an MRI right now. I just kind of fell pelvic, tailbone area. So he was trying to come back. He thought he might be able to come back, and we just decided not to risk anything. And so hopefully it's not bad, but he's getting imaging right now.
He hit that ground hard. You can hear it. It's crazy. Obviously a very scary moment for us, for him. Hopefully he's good.
Scary for sure. Monica, 2 days in a row. Who's better than me?
Party.
How are we feeling, girl?
I'm good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. All right, what would happen if the Warriors needed to rest Steph Curry?
Actually, their schedule, Molly, is a little bit favorable, S.A. Good morning. I don't think it's the end of the world. The thing we have not really discussed about the Warriors' ascent is how good they've been on defense with the addition of Jimmy Butler. And perhaps it has been discussed by some. But as you look ahead at their schedule, the next, four games on the road, I think they should be all right. The Heat obviously have been in the depths of despair since Jimmy left. That's obviously going to be emotional. The Pelicans, Spurs, all teams that are looking ahead to next season. Hawks could be a little interesting, but I'm not too concerned about that. And so if he needed to rest, I'm okay. This is a team that in the last 15 games, they have the best defensive rating in the league. They're averaging like 10 steals a game. And Jimmy Butler, as we know, is someone who is accustomed to putting a team on his shoulders should he need to. I don't think that they can withstand too many more injuries, so knock on wood and hope everybody stays well, but I'm not too concerned about this. The tricky thing is looking at those standings and trying to hold their position. But I think they should be okay for the next four.
They should be okay. They should win at least 3 of them. But the flip side to that, Eminem, is that they have to be concerned because they're 2 games behind the Grizzlies, but they're 1.5 games ahead of the Clippers. Now, why does that matter? If you look at the Golden State Warriors' record this season, they're 0-3 against the Clippers. They're 0-3 against the Lakers. They're 0-2 against the Rockets. And so when you think about seedings, it matters because those are teams they haven't necessarily had success against. They've got winning records against, ironically, against the Thunder and the Rockets, the top 2 seeds in the Western Conference, but they've struggled against the others. So you have to take that into consideration because the likelihood is that you're going to face one of the others before you face the one of the 2 seed. And that's what I'm looking at right now in terms of their positioning. Steph Curry being out. Jimmy Butler said it best. We're not going to be able to turn the ball over. We can't commit a bunch of fouls because the guy that can erase all of our problems would be out. So it definitely puts an inordinate amount of pressure on them. He can handle it. Draymond can handle it. Can Kuminga handle it? Can Podziemski handle it? Can Moody handle it? Etc. That's going to be the question mark. It can be very, very interesting to say the least, no doubt. We'll see what happens.
Was the Knicks' 3rd loss in 4 games and 6th in the last 9. Stephen A., I need to see your face for this, please.
I'm not happy.
Well, I didn't even ask the question. I want to know, what's your panic level?
It's no panic level because I resign myself to the fact that I don't expect much from the Knicks this year.
Okay.
To see Cleveland and Boston looking the way that they've been looking, to see the Knicks look as porous defensively as they have looked, to know now that Jalen Brunson is injured and out for a couple of weeks, to see Mikal Bridges getting into it with Tom Thibodeau about minutes, to see Josh Hart getting into it with Tom Thibodeau during a timeout at the game, this is not the same team. With Karl Anthony Towns, they are incredibly talented, but the grit and the toughness that they had from a year ago in the postseason when they resembled cardiac kids, that's not there. So right now, I'm just hoping that the New York Knicks will get out of the first round because I got news for you. The Detroit Pistons are good enough to beat the Knicks. If they face the Knicks, they could beat them. I'm not saying I'd pick them, but they could beat the Knicks, even with the healthy Jalen Brunson. So I'm just not happy about it right now, but I understand it's a different kind of year, and that just goes with it. At least they're not awful.
Yep. That was really depressing. At least they're not awful. Okay, let's carry on. The Lakers took a 118-89 loss to the Bucks last night, but it didn't come without some wins. Bronny James, a career-high 17 points, shooting 7 for 10 with 5 assists and 3 rebounds in 30 minutes of play. James Jr. even had a highlight moment, crossing up former MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. Here's head coach J.J. Redick postgame.
Not surprised by tonight. And I think his confidence is growing. I think the next step is just, becoming an elite conditioned athlete. Because when he does that with his physical tools and just his burst and his handle, and we think he's going to be an above average to really good NBA shooter. He's gonna have a chance to really make an impact.
All right, we know JJ was a shooter himself, and he said above average to really good shooter is his potential. Stephen A., what did you think of Bronny's performance last night?
I was very impressed. I was very impressed because I saw an elevation in his level of confidence and poise. It was like it didn't really faze him. He didn't look as nervous as he had looked in previous appearances on the basketball court. He looked like somebody that belonged. Now, obviously, Milwaukee gave it to them last night, but just looking at the Lakers without LeBron, without Luka, without Rui Hachimura, without Austin Reeves, of course, that put Bronny James in a position where he could get his 30 minutes, but give credit where credit is due. There were some moves that he put out on the court, ball handling skills, getting to the basket, finishing at the basket, pulling up for jumpers, hitting a three, 17.7 to 10 shooting from the field. I was impressed, okay? This is the big picture here that I want to bring up. I might have been wrong. Are you listening, LeBron James? Are you listening, James family? Are you listening, Rich Paul? Are you listening, all of you people? Because here's my position. My position was all along, Bronny James needed to be in the G League. Put him in the G League, let him be in the G League his first year, and then after that, let him come on, because I've always believed that this kid has the potential, once I watched him, to be in the NBA. But what I saw last night made me say to myself, wait a minute. He keeps showing up and playing like that. J.J. Redick and his staff obviously doing an exceptional job coaching him. The G Leaguers obviously doing a good job of preparing him. Him sitting on the bench, learning, watching the Lakers players, being in practice with them sometimes. Evidently, that seems to be working for him. And if that kind of stuff continues, then indeed he'll be in the league as a bona fide player sooner than later. One game does that make that determination. You need to do more than that. But I wanted to make sure I emphasize that point. And the reason why I wanted to make sure I emphasize that point, Molly, is because when I was approached by Pops, okay, at courtside and all of this other stuff, I will contend till the cows come. Yeah, tell me about it. I will contend till the cows come home. I was never disrespecting Bronny James. I was the one that didn't watch him in high school because I didn't want to judge him like I would have had to had I gone to his game. I didn't go to his college games at USC because he had the heart condition. I waited and waited and waited until he got to the pro level because I wanted to give the kid a chance, because obviously being LeBron James' son puts him in a very precarious position. So this notion that I was disrespecting or his son, it's a lie. It is false. We have numerous tapes that show I did not do that. But I did believe that he belonged in the G League to get himself honed for the NBA level. What may have been wrong about that is that evidently being around J.J. Redick and that staff and being around Pops and the rest of the Los Angeles Lakers, combined with the G League going back and forth, may be doing wonders for him sooner than we anticipated. Because I liked what I saw last night, and I'm going to keep the same energy. When he plays well, we're going to give him props. When he doesn't play well, we're going to say so. That's what happens with covering the league. Maybe his Pops didn't tell him that, but I'm going to tell him that. Congrats on a good performance last night. I hope it continues. I believe it will. And I believe he's going to be an NBA player, a bona fide NBA player, a lot sooner than people think based on the progress we're seeing him make.
Want to try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm going to try to wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.